What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, the Galaxy A34 5G was recently launched, and this device is the successor to last year's Galaxy A33 5G. Now, what's cool about this phone is that it's not necessarily a complete redesign from that predecessor model, but rather they took the best things of the A33 5G and then made them even better. So I'm looking forward to going over all of that throughout this video. And in addition to that, I will be comparing the A34 5G to the A33 5G in a separate video. Now, in case you are interested in getting a Galaxy A34 5G, I have linked to this device in the video description. Now, take a look over there and see what various configurations of this phone are being offered in your region, and also what different promotions are available, as that can change based on where you are. But before I get too far into things here with the A34 5G, let's see what all comes included here in the box. So here's the box. There's a picture of the phone. There's the name of the phone. You can also see that we do have a pretty slim box here as well. And then there's not a whole lot included here in the box. We get a SIM card removal tool. We also get some literature. And then we do have a double-sided USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. But keep in mind that there is no USB wall adapter included, so you'll have to supply that on your own. Now, with the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G, we have a very large 6.6-inch display featuring Corning Gorilla Glass 5. Now, on the back of the device, it is made of plastic in addition to the sides of the phone. However, I do appreciate that we do have this frosted finish here. I feel like it gives the phone a really unique look, and it does kind of set it apart from some of the other various Samsung A-series smartphones. Now, in addition to that 6.6-inch display, it does feature Super AMOLED as the display technology. So really awesome, excellent colors here, also really good viewing angles too, and the display that we're getting here with this device really gives the phone a nice premium feel. Now, speaking of premium, this phone also features a 120Hz refresh rate, so really nice and fast refresh rate, giving you a really smooth experience when navigating around the phone. So overall, I feel like the A34 5G feels a lot more expensive than it really is. Now, in addition to that, the display is 1080p, which is really good. We're getting a PPI of 390, we're getting a 19.5:9 aspect ratio, and we're getting an 84.9% screen-to-body ratio. So overall, the device features pretty slim bezels. Now, one disappointment here with the device is that it does feature a water drop notch. I wish Samsung would completely get rid of the water drop notches from all their various A-series phones, but apparently even now in 2023, this is still something that lingers on for certain models. Now, I did already cover the A54 5G, and that phone does feature a hole punch for the front-facing camera, so I do wish Samsung had gone with that here with the A34. But overall, it's not a big deal. It's not like it's a major distraction or anything, but more of a personal preference. Now, internally here with this device, we're getting 128 gigabytes of storage along with micro SD card expansion. So 128 gigs is really a generous amount. That'll definitely get you pretty far. And just in case it's not enough, you can always add in a micro SD card to offload photos and videos, for example. Now, with this phone, there is no wireless charging, which is a bit disappointing, but also that's a feature that you typically don't find with Samsung's A-series. So it is to be expected. And then with the Galaxy A54 5G, we do have an in-display fingerprint sensor. So let's give that a try right now. It's nice and fast and responsive. Let's try that one more time. There we go. So that does work really well. And overall, I am a fan of having an in-display fingerprint sensor. I feel like it is a genuinely useful way to access the phone. But also, in addition to that, this phone does support Face Unlock, so I do appreciate that we do have multiple methods here for getting into the device. Now, on the back of the phone, we do have a triple camera setup, which I'll be showing you a variety of different photo and video samples from them in my full review video of this device. But essentially, we're getting a 48 megapixel main camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera that can capture images at up to 123 degrees, and also a 5 megapixel macro camera for close-up images. And then this phone does support portrait mode for both the rear and front cameras. Now, here's how things look on the camera app on the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. This is with the main rear camera right now. Then from here, we can switch over to the ultra wide angle camera to fit a lot more content into the frame. So I'm a big fan of having an ultra wide camera. I feel like it's a genuinely useful camera feature to have, and it's certainly not a gimmick. Especially when I'm on vacation, I find myself using that ultra wide camera quite a bit, just because it kind of changes up the way that my photos look. And in addition to that, you can also take videos with the ultra-wide camera too. Now speaking of video recording, this phone does support 4K video recording for both the rear and front-facing cameras, so that's also really nice. We even have 1080p at 60 FPS with the rear camera as well. And then flipping around to the front-facing camera, again, there is 4K, but no 60 FPS to the front-facing camera, but that's okay. Then heading over to the More tab, we have the macro camera, and with the macro camera, we can get very close up and have things be in really good detail. So a nice feature to have. Then heading over to portrait mode, we can get those nice blurred out backgrounds. There's also a blur slider here too, so if you want less blur, you can toggle that, or even more blur, you have that ability as well. And then flipping around to the front-facing camera, you can take portrait selfies. There's also a blur effect slider, and then in addition to that, you can crop out a little bit for a group selfie. And if you want to, you don't have to use portrait mode for selfie mode, you can just take standard selfies. So certainly a lot of different abilities when it comes to the various cameras here with the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. Now internally, with this device, we're getting 6 GB of RAM and the MediaTek Dimensity 1080 processor. Now overall, 6 GB of RAM is a pretty decent amount, and paired up with that processor, you should expect to get pretty decent mid-range performance. So essentially, for most people out there, this phone will perform perfectly fine. You'll be able to go on social media with no issues at all. Phone calls, text messages, watching video content, even doing some light gaming and photo editing. All those various things will be great here on the Galaxy A34 5G. It's really just the more demanding tasks, such as doing a lot of video editing on the device or doing high performance gaming. Those various things can be a bit slow on a phone with this processor. And then also, if you are someone who finds yourself constantly using your smartphone, maybe you just are always glued to your phone, or maybe you use your phone for business, you might want to consider going for something a bit more powerful just to avoid any potential frustrations with the phone not being one of the fastest out there. But for what it is, as a mid-range kind of lower end device, I feel like many people will be very satisfied with how the phone works and how fast it is. Now I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 6, and here are the scores I got from that test. So I got a single core score of 1027 and a multi-core score of 2440. So what I recommend doing is running this test on your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of how the Galaxy A34 5G compares to what you have. And then one other thing to mention about the processor in this device, it does feature 5G compatibility, which you probably expect based on the name of the phone. Now at this point in 2023, I do think you can get by without 5G. That being said, if you're going to go through all the time and effort of buying a brand new smartphone, I feel like you may as well get one that does support your carrier's latest and greatest network, especially considering that 5G is definitely the future and the way things are heading. Now internally with this device, we're getting a really large 5,000 milliamp hour battery along with up to 25 watt fast charging. So that large battery definitely will give you very good battery life. You should certainly expect to get a full day, if not multiple days of usage out of the Galaxy A34 5G. And along with that, you'll be able to rapidly recharge the phone at 25 watts. Keep in mind though, since there is no wall adapter included, you will have to supply your own, and you will have to make sure that the wall adapter you're supplying is capable of 25 watt fast charging, because it is possible that the wall adapter you have isn't actually capable of those max charging speeds. And if you want to quickly recharge the device, you will need a wall adapter that is compatible with that. So keep that in mind. And then as far as the software goes on this device, it is running Samsung's One UI 5.1 on top of Android 13. So if you've used a Samsung smartphone anytime really in the last 5 years, the experience should be very familiar to you. Now Samsung has made a lot of cool changes with the latest version of One UI, but overall, they do keep many of the other things the same in kind of a good way too, so that you don't have to completely relearn how to use a Samsung phone every time you get one. But definitely check out my upcoming tips and tricks video about the Galaxy A34 5G to learn more about all the various software features that this phone does have to offer. And then moving on, with the Galaxy A34 5G, we do have NFC, so if you do want to make contactless payments using Tap and Pay, you can definitely do that here with this device. So it does work with both Samsung Pay and Google Pay, which is really awesome. In addition to that, this phone does have an IP67 rating, which means that it is water resistant for up to 1 meter for up to 30 minutes. And then in addition to that, it also has some dust resistance. And then finally, this phone does have stereo speakers. So if you're watching a video or listening to music, you will be getting audio out of both the main speaker and the bottom of the phone, and then also out of the earpiece. So that is really awesome. And it certainly provides a much more immersive audio listening experience. But now that I've gone over many of the major specifications and features for the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G, let's talk a bit more about the hardware of the phone. Now, as I mentioned, this phone does feature very small bezels all throughout. We also have that water drop notch up top there. On the left side of the phone, there's nothing. Then on the right side of the device, we have volume up, volume down, and also the power button. Then up top here, we have the noise canceling microphone, and then also the SIM card slot, which doubles as the micro SD card slot. Then on the bottom of the device, we have the main microphone, USB-C port for charging and data transfer, also another microphone, I believe, and then also the speaker. And then on the back of the phone, again, I really like this frosted finish, but we're getting a triple camera setup, the flash, Samsung logo, and that's pretty much it. So in conclusion, I'm really excited about the Samsung Galaxy A34 5G. This phone seems like a very worthy successor to the A33, and I'm certainly looking forward to testing it out quite a bit before I give you my full review. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, definitely let me know. But stay tuned for my various A34 5G videos that will be out soon. And with all that said, I will see you in the next one. Take care and have a great rest of your day.